What is up, guys? Welcome back to another Vern Supercoach video. This week it is the NBL Round 3 review. Look, first of all, I'm sorry I didn't get the video out Sunday, Monday, sort of like I said I would. I actually tried a recording yesterday, but I kind of got food poisoning on, Sunday night dinner. And I'll be honest, halfway through that recording I had to run to the bathroom, and then by the time I came back, honestly, I had to go to work. Starting this one with not much time before I got to go to work either. I do start at 11, and I really need to make sure I'm out of here by 10:35 at the earliest. But if I didn't get it done now, then it's probably not getting done tonight because I'm busy tonight, and that means it's getting done Wednesday again. And I just feel bad about getting that out late, so we're going to get it smashed out right here, right now. So sorry about this, be a bit more of a speed run video. But first of all, I do appreciate all those for tuning in and liking and subscribing for the consistent injections of Supercoach content directly into your YouTube feed. Obviously, you can follow me via X down below or join our Supercoach Hub Discord, which has been really sick. A lot of chatter in there on the NBL, so really fun. But I scored a 396, went up 825 ranks, and you guys are looking at that thinking, Vern, that looks a bit under that score. Honestly, this was a massive week for me, in my opinion. If we do just jump to the team, so we didn't bring in Magne. We always, if you obviously watched last week, you should remember that I basically planned on tanking this week so that I was better prepped for next week. But because of that, I was always going to have a really good week this week to sort of make up for it. So the point on a week that I sort of thought I was tanking, I went up in ranks, makes me feel pretty good. And that's mainly because of the KD thing here. So we had the C on KD, and honestly, KD with an 86, highest score of the round, awesome captain choice. Look, Magne owners feel a bit of rejoice there. He could have very easily been awful. He got 49 at the end of the day, over 65, I think, percent of the top 1%, over 50% of the whole competition captained this man, so that was the big difference maker. Obviously, Kendrick Davis has outscored him by 37 points, which is basically a full premium. The difference between Oliver and Magne is 33, so that kind of made up the difference right there on my score. So that was awesome. But Magne obviously got in a position where he did that choke, and people thought maybe he'd get suspended, but he didn't. He obviously had the flu in the morning of the second game, and he was a game-time decision, so he managed to play that as well. And then on top of it, he would have had like a 13-point second game, but overtime happens, and in overtime he's able to get that one extra point he needs to get that double-double, puts down like an 11 extra Supercoach points, which for a lot of the competition that captured him, that's basically 22 extra Supercoach points. So that, if he didn't show up for, if any of those things happened, Magne would have definitely bounced like a lot more people back in the rankings, and it would have been even nicer for me. But look, I'm pretty happy with my outcome. And we've got the second highest scorer last week, Jalen Adams captain, and then the highest scorer, Kendrick Davis captain this week. Harold also had this thing where he pushed the refs as well, so there was a lot of controversy this round, and it became a bit tight, a bit tight to say the least. But yeah, this is how the team looked going into the round. Honestly, pretty happy with it. I actually did field Henshaw over Adams, though. I did decide to take that cheeky punt. Adams 26, I thought it felt good about Henshaw getting over that, but he did miss an open layup at the end. Not at the end, but just like in the game, which was unfortunate. KD also really should have been pushing, in my opinion, like at least 11 points higher. He had so many assists in that first game that his teammates just didn't finish. He threw one to Harrell, and he pushed Foxwell and gave away the turnover because he's given away an offensive foul, but then also doesn't finish the basket for 2 points. So Harrell misses 4 points, but then KD misses the assist, and that's 2 points. There was also that alley-oop dunk to Harrell where he gets it, slams it down, and he somehow slammed it on the back of the ring, and the ball went flying. There's another assist. There's another one he gave to Humphrey under the ring, and Humphrey had the most freest layup, turned around and hit the back. Even he stopped and put his hands on his face, like, no. And it's like, hey, look, Humphrey, honestly, last week you weren't even shooting that because of the confidence woes. And he had an awesome week, Humphrey, so like congrats on him bouncing back. Would have done immense work for his confidence, and Adelaide obviously looked a lot better with Harrell and Humphrey on field running at the 5 and 4. But it was just very unfortunate that he missed that as well. And yeah, that's not even counting the other passes he makes. You know, he makes a pass out to Marshall in the corner, wide open for 3, and doesn't hit the shot. You know, things like that. You know, those 3 assists right under the basket that really should have been assists, that would have pushed KD to 10 assists, 5 points extra for the double-double, 6 points extra for the assist, 11 extra points. He ends up on like 97, and us captainers would have been even more ecstatic. I mean, only 2.6% of the comp actually captained KD. So it was a huge pod captaincy, and you saw a lot of people that rose up the ranks this week is because they captained KD. those extra points. As I mentioned, 37 extra points over Magne, insane. So yeah, unfortunately, he didn't get a few more points there. Unfortunately, Magne didn't get a few less. Could have really helped bolster me a little bit more, but honestly, on a round that should have gone, in my opinion, quite poor, because I was only really running 3 premiums on the double. Things went very well. I'm going to keep it short and sharp that way. Lepepe was obviously awesome. Suzukowski came back, which was nice. Olbridge, a bit of a talking point. I mean, he had that 29, then he had a 1, then he had a 14. So he's sort of roughly around his price. So maybe someone that can go. But I guess we have to sort of focus on the players that are coming in. And the way I like to do this, I'm sure you all saw it last week. It's like, okay, double games. We're going to look at Cairns, Adelaide, Sydney. These are the teams we want. These are the break-evens we want. These are the guys we want. Who are the primos we want? Xavier Cook's incredible. It was a throwaway game, but still incredible, and a lot of people probably wanting to get on him. But I think I'm more interested in the break-even game. Who are these cheap guys we can get? Robertson came out and played. Was that because he was favored over Bruce, or was it just that it was a throwaway game, so he got on some court time? Not too sure. But quite productive, and I thought he was quite good on the court, so I would love to see him back out there over Bruce. Saying that, Bruce is only really getting 10 minutes when Adams is on the bench, so what, Robertson and him split that, get 5 apiece, maybe one gets 4, one gets 3, like, I don't know, like, he's a bit of a questionable pick to bring in because of that, but the 69k price tag is very enticing. Detch obviously coming back, Gak having a good one, and then I think the more important guys right here, Armstrong and GalloWAY. Oof, they both are quite expensive, almost 200k a piece, but with their break-evens being so low, 13 and 14, these guys have the ability to at least put out 40 Supercoach points. They're going to make some serious money. Obviously, Cairns have the double, single, double, but most teams have that single next week, so 5 games over the next 3 rounds is really, really good. I mean, technically that's as many as the New Zealand guys that we'll be getting next week, so that's actually more because they're not playing this week, so they only have 4. So I think these guys are massive players we want. Unfortunately, McCoy got on, but didn't get a single point even when he was on, and then didn't really get favoured to come back in the second game. Unfortunate. This was also cool. Adelaide was like very good, and Cairns were very good. They're both very good teams, and they were fun to watch, which is very enticing when you got your Supercoach players in those teams that are popping off. And GalloWAY was insane. Obviously, we had Groves miss out on that second game, but God, they looked good with him at the 5, stretching the floor with Wardenberg. They also were so hungry for rebounds. Sometimes that happens with teams when the big man steps off and everyone's like, okay, everyone's got to get after rebounds. They looked way better on the boards because guys weren't sitting there thinking, Groves got this. Guys were like, we got to help. So yeah, they were incredible. GalloWAY so good from 3, so deadly. We saw this at Adelaide last year. He's a guy that can almost put down 40 Supercoach points a game. He just needs that opportunity. We thought him going to Cairns, he'd get that opportunity, but it hasn't been there until Groves gets a bit of a niggle, doesn't really play, and the 2 games he hasn't played, GalloWAY's been insane. Honestly, like, we all know Groves is going for tests this week to see his calf and see how it's turning out. If for some reason we get news that Groves is missing both these games, even one of these games, I think GalloWAY almost ends up as a must-have. Armstrong is also, in my opinion, a must-have. I mean, 29 points in both of these games. Looked like he did that pretty easily. He's priced at 16.5. Honestly, if he went at a 22 average, you're getting very good points per price, points per dollar. GalloWAY's a little bit cheaper, so he's slightly priced at about that, 16 to 15 mark himself, so he sort of needs to at least be trying to get hopefully 18 plus a game. But then again, if someone's getting 18 plus a game, 36 on field, is that good? I mean, Cook's just scored 48 on a double, Magne scored 56 on a double, so it's one of those things where it's hard, like, who's worth getting here. So obviously they're the teams we want. The only other one I reckon like is getting brought up is Majik Deng with the -12 break even. Now look, basically every point you beat your break even, it's just over $1,000 cash you'll make. So if he comes on and scores a 0 in the week, he makes 12k, we'll say roughly. If he comes on and gets 20, he's going to make probably 32k. Awesome. And Tasmania have this double next week, so you can help prep for next week by bringing in Dang. Maybe that little bit of extra money also helps facilitate your team. Not something I'm looking at, but he's looked really good, and if he's someone that's good, I can always get him next week. it's not the end of the world expensive. Like, yeah, he might end up at 200,000, which would suck, but it's always a possibility. But we're going to jump back to my teams and probably my trades this week. Number one rule is that we need Taron Armstrong. It's just straight facts. And we got Olbridge versus Hickey. Who's more likely to go out? Who's got more money on their head? It's very hard. I mean, what if I win both of them? Let's just say Olbridge and Hickey went out. How much money does that leave me? That looks like a really nice amount of money to fit my two fellas in that we just talked about. GalloWAY, Armstrong, perfect. Absolutely perfect. That is crazy how good that is. GalloWAY obviously goes on field here, and we get the 5 guys on the double. We get Armstrong on the bench. We hold White with this 9 break even, and we get Armstrong on the bench. Honestly, I think a team that would absolutely dominate this week. Only Zukowski and Henshaw not on the doubles, and White, but yeah, I think this would be my favorite route. This is by far my favorite route if Groves gets not named. If they don't name Groves, perfect. This is the play I'm going for. GalloWAY, get on field. I think the only thing that's a problem here is I think GalloWAY without Groves is maybe like a 50 guy. Hopefully he can get to 50, where if Cook went 60 as a non-owner, you'd think that's a win. That's just how good he's been. His lowest score is 34. I need this man to get if he gets 60, then awesome. That's low for what he's been getting, and that's less punishing. Maybe I'm giving up a few points, 10 points from GalloWAY to Cooks, but it's okay because I've got such good bench fields and I've got such good players on field. Saying that, Cooks does have harder matchups as well. He's coming into Adelaide. Harrell and Humphrey inside. It's not going to be easy to get inside and score on those guys, so yeah, absolutely love this line, and a line I would definitely love going for, but may not be the case. So if we did go, say, GalloWAY, and we went Olbridge out, and we went White out instead, it doesn't leave us enough money. Now, I think Armstrong's a must, so you have to bring him in. So since I have to bring him in my opinion, I would then activate a boost if that's the case. And then this is the other question that comes in. Like, okay, who would I be boosting out? When I look at the break evens game here, I'm not going to be moving on Zukowski. Lepepe, no way. He's on the double. And obviously not Henshaw either. So it means that Olbrich would have to go again. So basically, it's basically guaranteed Hickey and Olbridge are out of my team. It's a matter of does White join them. And if White joins them, that does put me in a position where we can go the Sydney fellas. I'm not going to bring in any Adelaide guys either. And we can go Xavier Cooks for 1. And then I'd maybe have to be looking at Roberts here because he's the only guy that really fits the price tag. If I click on like filter players I can afford, it's only Roberts that's playing. Like, it's going to be not Majuk. It's not him. So then Roberts comes in, and I really need to pray that he gets some court time. And hey, this on-field team, insane. This looks like a weekly winning on-field team. We literally have 3 guys here on the bench that have doubles, and Armstrong. People playing him on field, they're expecting so much from him. So, like, this is the kind of team that I look at and think, man, I could win the weekly if I ran this team. This is kind of nuts. So a team I feel pretty hype about, and I think a team that would give me so much ground this week. I would go rocketing up the rankings this week. Don't get me wrong, I think I'm going to have a great week either anyway because I prepped so well for it. I think there's a good chance I'll be in the top 1,000 by the end of it, but this is the kind of team that could win the weekly and put me in like to the top 500 real quick. So definitely a possibility. I hate the idea of using a second boost here, especially for someone like Roberts, who at the end of the day, he's just there to fund cash to get Cooks and Armstrong, and then he may not even play. If he can get on and play, awesome. He only has a 4 break even if he gets 10 minutes of court time. If he can score 2 5s and get a 10 overall, cool, he'll make 6k, and he at least got me something on my bench. That would be ideal. I wouldn't mind that. That would be fine. But yeah, then we've got a lot of Sydney players, which isn't bad because Sydney have the double, single, then 2 doubles. So they have 3 doubles over the next 4 games and actually probably the best team to buy this week. So not the end of the world in that situation either. As I said, there's a lot of factors that come into this. I do think at this stage we're just going to go back to this, and I'm going to kind of be praying that Groves doesn't play. As bad as that sounds. Like, I'm so sorry, Groves. Like, you've been good for what we've seen from you, and I'm sure Cans love you, but you're at least the first game of the round, so we should know in advance. We will know, is Groves playing? Armstrong also had these nibbles. Is Armstrong starting? Is he okay? We will know these in advance, and this is a team I'm happy with. I don't mind holding the 3 boosts at the end of the day. I think I don't really want to burn a boost right now, but if it is what it is, then that's just what it's got to be. So I'm pretty happy with how this team looks. I think this is a great bench as well. White, he's going to make money, and then he will have 3 doubles in a row. Not next week, but the week after. So someone I would like to hold on to for that, because he is honestly Melbourne's best player. He's their best Supercoach scorer. He's the guy we want from Melbourne. So someone I'm very much wanting to hold on to. We've got to obviously plan for PJC next week, but I do think Harrell's obviously... Martin's expecting to return, so Harrell's just out next week, and Davis is probably just out next week. Cool, if Davis can make like 40k, get pretty close to PJC price, he just goes to PJC, and then White probably comes on over GalloWAY on the single. And then Harrell maybe ends up as a Meninga. Oh, wait, he probably just comes on. Yeah, if I bring Meninga is a double, though, so I'd probably field him with White. But then Meninga is on a 0 break-even, 150k. So, yeah, once again, always prepping for next week. What am I doing next week? Yes, $300 in the bank. That doesn't look like that's good enough. But Harrell going down to Meninga puts 170k in my pocket, maybe 70k up on Davis goes to PJC, and that leaves 100k in my pocket for the following week. If I wanted to get Cooks back in that following week. If I chose to go GalloWAY out that following week, maybe I can go down somewhere. Maybe Zakowski goes down. Maybe I put another 60k, and maybe I'm able to go GalloWAY to a Cooks. It's unlikely because that's almost 200 grand difference, and I'd only have 100 grand, so I'd have to find like another 100 grand over that time. But yeah, just always trying to sort of pre-plan. That's sort of what I'm looking at here. Anyway, guys, I think this is my round review. Captains this week. I think it's pretty obvious. You've got the 3 teams on the double. It's either KD or Davis or Cooks. I do like... Sorry, I say KD. KD is Davis. I think Adams, Davies, or Cooks. I like Adams personally, even if I bring in Cooks. As I mentioned, I think Adelaide, they have Trez, and they have Humphrey inside, so I think it'll be a bit harder for Cooks to do his thing. But obviously, he definitely still could. It is one of those things that sometimes players step up when they're against good opponents. So he could definitely be very good, and he has shown to be very good. I do think, yeah, Sydney just maybe easier matchups. We do have Adelaide going into Bull Qual, so Davis is probably going to get locked down. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a smaller game this week because of that. And then into Melbourne, who we just saw Illy lock down Bryce Cotton as well. So 2 very heavily good defensive guard teams that are going to be scary for Davis, unfortunately. I do think he's good enough to at least push 50. I say his floor this week would probably be 50. Still makes him decent money. Still good on-field option. Obviously, that brings up the question that is maybe Taron a better option on field. I do think Davis just because of that ceiling. That is my alarm going off because I've got to get out this bloody door and get to work. So really appreciate all you for tuning into this video. I know a little bit of a speed run, and I'll update you guys on X with what I actually decide with. I know I haven't really done that the last few weeks, but honestly I've released like a Wednesday night video and my trades haven't changed between Wednesday night and Thursday night. But yeah, obviously a little bit more time between now and then, a lot more information to come out and a lot more things to consider. So anyway guys, till next time, peace, later.